You feel it, don't you? Something lurking just beneath the surface. You try to grow, to break patterns, to be better, but somehow you keep falling into the same traps, the same anger, the same self-sabotage. And what's worse, you start thinking it's just who you are. But Carl Jung would tell you, it's not you, not fully. It's the part of you you've never dared to meet, the part you've ignored your whole life, but that's never stopped controlling you. He called it the shadow. And if you don't face it, it'll quietly ruin your life from the inside out. You know the signs. That voice in your head that whispers doubt right before you succeed. The random explosions of anger at the smallest things. The envy you pretend you don't feel when someone achieves exactly what you secretly crave. The fear that paralyzes you with excuses, just when it's time to act. You think it's random, but it's not. These aren't glitches, they're signals. Your shadow, the hidden side of your psyche, is pulling the strings. Everything you've repressed, abandoned, denied, lives there. Your shame, your ambition, your rage, all the pieces you shoved deep down to be accepted. And here's the twist. What you hide controls you. The more you reject the shadow, the more power it gains. It doesn't vanish. It festers, waiting to lash out through sabotage, projection, self-destruction. You explode without knowing why. You isolate yourself, then wonder why you're lonely. You judge others for traits you secretly hate in yourself. You ruin your own progress and call it bad luck. Jung warned, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. You think it's coincidence. It's not. It's the part of you you've buried, writing your story without your consent. And it started early. As a child, you were told what's acceptable and what's not. Don't cry. Don't be selfish. Be nice. Be good. Piece by piece, you learn to amputate your emotional limbs. Where did your anger go? Where did your hunger for attention, your boldness, your selfishness, the kind that says, I matter too? They didn't disappear. They were exiled into the unconscious, into the shadow. Now those parts are no longer under your control. They show up in your discomfort with confident people, your judgment of those who want success, your envy toward people who chase what you've convinced yourself is too much. You're like an iceberg, showing only what's allowed, but the mass of who you are, it's hidden, even from you. And the more you ignore it, the more it leaks into your life. In the fear you can't name, the habits you can't break, the relationships you sabotage again and again. It's not about if you have a shadow, it's about how much control it already has. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The shadow doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't crash through the door. It shapes the way you see the world. You think you're making conscious choices, but you're often just obeying old wounds. Projection is one of its favorite tricks. You see in others what you can't face in yourself. You loathe their ambition, but it's your own you've buried. You hate their confidence, but really it's the part of you that was punished for speaking up. And then there's self-sabotage, the shadow's most devastating weapon. You procrastinate at the moment that matters. You back away from growth. You choose what's safe over what's real. And you don't even notice because the shadow whispers, you don't deserve this. You're not ready. This isn't for you. So you stay in your comfort zone, even when it's miserable. And if you wonder why you always attract the same kind of toxic people, that's no accident either. You unconsciously seek what fits your shadow's narrative. If you carry rejection inside you, you'll find people who confirm it. If your shadow believes you're unworthy, you'll draw in those who make you feel small. This isn't a curse, it's a mirror, and it only changes when you stop running from the reflection. But here's the catch. When you ignore the shadow long enough, it doesn't just hurt you quietly, it erupts. It hijacks your life in ways that leave real damage. And that's exactly where we're going next. The eruption might look like a breakdown, or a sudden outburst that scorches a relationship. It might look like walking away from everything good in your life because some quiet part of you doesn't believe you deserve it. That's not fate. That's the shadow calling the shots. And it doesn't stop there. It starts shaping your identity. You convince yourself you're just not good with people, that you're lazy, that you always mess things up. But those are not traits. They're defense mechanisms. They're strategies the shadow uses to keep its secrets buried. So how do you stop it? You don't destroy the shadow. You can't. You integrate it. Jung didn't believe in killing off your darkness. He believed in making it conscious, bringing the hidden into the light, owning the parts of you that embarrass you, scare you, even repulse you. But integration isn't about becoming edgy or giving in to your worst impulses. It's about radical honesty, looking at yourself and saying, yes, I can be selfish. Yes, I've manipulated. Yes, I've felt envy, rage, spite, because until you own it, it owns you. And here's the twist. The shadow doesn't just hold the bad, it holds your power, your assertiveness, your confidence, your passion, passion, all the parts you disowned because they weren't safe to express. When you integrate your shadow, you don't become worse, you become whole. That anger you've been avoiding, it becomes a boundary. That selfishness you've denied, it becomes self-respect. That envy, it becomes clarity, revealing what you truly want. But you can't shortcut it. You have to face the discomfort, sit with the guilt, confront the part of you that judges, lashes out, withdraws, not to shame it, but to understand it. And it's not a one-time revelation, it's a process, a practice. Every time you get triggered, that's a flare from your shadow. And instead of reacting blindly, you pause. You ask, what am I really feeling? What part of me is trying to speak through this? This is where self-awareness becomes self-liberation. Jung called it individuation, the lifelong journey of becoming your full self, not your ideal self, not your healed self, your integrated self, a person who holds both light and shadow and doesn't flinch. In the effects, they're quiet but profound. You stop needing constant validation. You stop projecting your pain onto others. You stop choosing chaos just because peace feels unfamiliar. Your relationships change. Because when you stop expecting others to carry your shadow, you stop punishing them for it. You see people more clearly. You listen without defensiveness. You speak without performance. And most importantly, you reclaim your life, no longer ruled by unconscious guilt, shame, or fear. You act from clarity, not compulsion. You choose based on truth, not trauma. But this work requires courage, because the shadow isn't a monster under the bed. It's you when no one's watching. It's the truth behind the mask. And most people would rather suffer than take off the mask. They'll say, I'm just being nice. I don't want conflict. I'm not angry. But deep down, they're seething, resentful, lost. That's not virtue, that's avoidance. And the longer you avoid, the deeper the shadow digs in. So instead, you look it in the eye, not to fight it, but to understand it, to learn what it's been trying to tell you all along. Because under the shame is truth, under the fear is power, under the mask is you. And the moment you stop running, you begin to see you were never broken, just fragmented, split into pieces by expectation, conditioning, and fear. The shadow holds the parts you lost trying to survive. And now it's asking to come home, not to ruin you, but to complete you. Because wholeness isn't found in perfection, it's found in the willingness to stand in your own darkness and not look away.